Hello friends, welcome to the previously abandoned Bank of Johnston here in the beautiful Peach Capital. I'm Drayton. I'm glad you're here. I made a huge mistake. Well, it wasn't so huge, but it was a very big mistake. Thanks to one of my subscribers on the very last video that pointed out kindly that the flashing in the back here was going to make a problem happen in the future. And I wasn't thinking, but yes, I did make a mistake. I was just going quickly and didn't pay attention, and sometimes that happens. So let me show you what I did and how I fixed it.
Okay friends, this is what the roof looks like right now. Let's just pretend that the concrete underneath is our wood sheathing, and then we have our asphalt shingle, we have our flashing, and our tar paper. And what you can't see here that I did include was flashing tape. I put a pretty good amount of flashing tape everywhere. It went up the wall and onto the wood underneath, as well as some spots over top of the tar paper too, to seal up any holes. Well, that's all fine as long as you're on a pitch, like going up the side of a wall. But at the top where there's a wall right here, the subscriber pointed out that the water's gonna come right down the wall and go right underneath that sheathing. And although this is a waterproof product, this tar paper, there's staple holes and nails that are through this. And if water comes down underneath here from the top of the wall, it's just gonna go right underneath and possibly cause damage to the sheathing underneath. So what I'm going to do is remove as much of the flashing that I can. I'm gonna leave all the bottom part intact, so we don't have to repair any of the roof part. But I'm going to replace this with another piece of flashing. We're going to build it like this. So the flashing goes on top of the shingle, and then we're gonna lay another strip of the asphalt shingle on top of this, just to hide any of the sealant and the couple of nail holes we're gonna have to put up here to hold it into place. That should make it totally waterproof, and when the water comes down, it will go over top of the sheathing, or over top of the flashing, and then land on the asphalt and not cause any damage whatsoever. Here's an example of the flashing that I used on the roof. I just made this myself with my hands. I didn't use any tools to do this. There is a tool called a brake. You can rent one at the Orange store or any other tool rental place. They're not very big. Some are pretty big. People that make gutters from scratch, downspouts, things like that, you'll see them on the back of their truck when they're driving around town. But I don't have one of those. I just use my hands to do this. You can also use the edge of a piece of wood, which we're going to do today. And this is all made just from this trim coil. It's 10 feet by 10 inches. You can get this at any of the box stores as well. It's about $10 or $15 for this. So we're gonna reopen the scrap that I have left over and cut away. Our measurement is 39 3/4 inches. Before we go any further, you should wear some gloves if you're going to be working with this metal. It does get very sharp. Okay, friends, we're going to use this wood that was left in here from who knows when. I have no idea what the purpose of this wood was for, but here it is. And well, we got to find some kind of purpose for it. And well, the first purpose is going to be bending this metal. So here's as easy as it is. You just line it up. We have a nice hard edge right here, even better than a 2x4 on this. 2x4s have a little rounded edge on it, which is totally fine. So we're going to go out we're going to make a little lip. I'll show you that lined up. So I'm just going to bend it down using my thumb. If you line it up on both sides, it should come out very even. Okay, so that's the beginning of it. You see in the example, this little lip here has to go inside the brick, and we're going to seal that up. So I made this for two reasons. One, so when it goes inside the brick, there's some chance of some caulking getting in there and sealing that up. And it causes it to be much more rigid as well. So there we go. I'm going to continue folding this all the way over. Now there are tools that you can use. They're also very inexpensive. Aside from a brake, there's hand tools. I can't remember the name of it. I should know. But again, I don't do this very often. Yeah, that looks very good. It's very rigid that way too. Next, we're going to get our wider section here. This section, and I'm just gonna eyeball this. And make sure you bend it the right way. I almost bent it the wrong way. With a brake, you can be very precise. With a piece of wood and your eyeballs, you can actually get pretty precise as well. It's just not going to look as perfect. But this is not a showpiece, like I said. And I'm not one to say that's good enough. Believe me, people that have worked with me for long amounts of time know that to be the case. We're almost there. Okay. One more bend right around here on the bottom side, and I think we're good. Just going to go about 1/4 of an inch. Ooh, it's getting hot in here, guys. I'll turn the fan on. It's pretty humid. It's not really hot. Well, it is. I guess it is pretty hot. It's about 94 degrees today. And we do not have electricity yet. It's going to be coming soon. And you might be wondering, if you don't have electricity, how's the fan running? Well, we kind of have electricity. On my van, a couple years back installed a solar system, a Renogy solar system, and it's worked out great. You can run power tools on it. It keeps lights going at nighttime. We can make coffee in the mornings, even run an air fryer. A rice pot, pretty much anything we want to. One time I did run through the battery when I was using a pretty aggressive tool for a long time, but it recharged by the end of the day. We have fans at nighttime, so it's an awesome addition to this project, having the Vanity parked right out there. I don't want to do that for long. It's not totally convenient, but man, it really makes it nice for moments like this where you can turn the fan on and enjoy the space. No, I do really love this place. I love it here. I don't prefer to use rolled roofing, but for a small job like this, it's more economical and it works. We're at 39 3/4. I'm going to shorten that just a tad. I'm going to go to 39 5/8. Line that up with the framing square. I'm cutting the back side of the rolled roof. Makes it easier on the blade. Not that I'm really trying to save it, but it's an easier cut. There we go. Very easy to cut. And this is just going to hide the nail holes and protect it from the weather. So we're just going to make a strip that's, how's that look? I think it looks pretty good. It's so hot in here, this stuff cuts really nice. Well, the flashing wasn't the first thing that I messed up on the job. There's been a couple little small things along the way. As you can imagine, everybody makes mistakes here and there, but there's been nothing that I couldn't have rectified in the middle of doing it or realized, I should be doing this a little bit different way or something. But that happens, and thank goodness for YouTube and Google, because you can find out a lot of information on things like these little projects. That's maybe why you're watching this channel right now. But one mistake that I made about 4.5 or 5 years ago now was right here
on this exact saw. A lot of you have asked, what the heck did you do to your finger, Dre? How'd you lose that thing? And I have not told anybody on the channel. Of course, I've told people in person a lot, but it's a common question. I'm never offended when people ask about it. It was a bad day on a construction site. I was finishing up a job I was in charge of, and we were flipping a house for some other people, and I was cutting the very last piece of quarter round on the trim. Very last piece. We were finishing up in like 2 or 3 days from then, and I just wasn't thinking, and I cut a piece of wood, a quarter round that was 2 3/8 inches long, and it's a little shorter than this DeWalt knife that I keep on me all the time. It was very small, and the mistake was, if you do construction, if you use these saws, you know you should never cut a piece of wood that's 6 inches or less ever without having a longer board to push up against it so it doesn't cause major problems like it did for me. I cut it, and as soon as the blade hit, it pulled my finger right into the blade and cut it off. And my biggest concern at the time was playing guitar. I played guitar since I was 15 years old. I've never been really great, but I really love playing. So I begged the doctors to put it back on, but it was too far gone. They didn't have a chance of attaching it again. So I just have learned to deal with it. And it's been really a positive thing, actually, because it strikes up a lot of conversation. And I still play guitar, and there's some chords that I can't quite get to, but you know, it works out fine. I can still play. I still enjoy it just as much as I did before. And I still use the exact saw that cut the finger off. So in fact, the very next day after it happened, I came back and cut a couple pieces of wood just to get myself mentally over the fact that this was the thing that did it. And it's been fine. I don't really struggle with the, PTSD or anything from using the saw. It's just something that happens in life. And well, dang it, I wish it didn't happen, but heck, it did. So here we are. And I'm still doing stuff and learning as I go, like all of you. So that's what happened to the finger. I'm glad you all asked about it, and well, let's move on. Let's get some work done. Well, unfortunately, it's still raining outside, and I have run out of some of the things I need, the materials for this project. I don't have the sealant that I need. I used up most of it, so I'll need a little bit more of that. So it looks like we're going to need to go to the orange store. Many of you may not have ever been to the orange store. When I say that, I mean Home Depot or Lowe's. If you haven't, well, I would be kind of surprised because, well, I think everybody's been to the Home Depot, but maybe some people haven't. If you've never been into a Home Depot, well, today's your day. I'm going to show you what it's like. And I'm going to go to one of my other favorite places to shop for materials, the Habitat for Humanity Restore in Columbia. There's one in about every big city, but Columbia, Aiken, which is nearby, and Augusta, Georgia, which is a very good one there, have a plethora of construction materials and other little knickknacks that you might enjoy. So if you've never been to a Habitat for Humanity Restore, well, you're gonna, I hope, love it like I do. Well, so let's go. Before I go, I better make sure that I have everything on my list because it's an hour drive to get to Columbia, 45 minutes to get to the other two orange stores. So I got to prepare. I've done this before and forgot something as soon as I got back home. So I'm going to have to take a minute before we take off. I might wait till the rain stops a little bit too. Welcome to the orange store, or Home Depot. A nice campfire smell. I'm looking for some spray paint and some caulking, a couple other small items here, and then we're going to move on to the Restore. Most of you have probably been into one of these type of big box stores before, but if you haven't, well, we'll just take a little walk around. Well, lots of options in the caulking aisle here. Looking for the gray and green tube. Here we go. Concrete siliconized filler and sealant. That's going to work for us. And it's right next to the other stuff I need. Cool. I like to grab one of these buckets when I don't have much, but it's too much to carry in my hands. And sometimes I end up with a bucket too. One of my favorite aisles in any store is the tool aisle. Lots of good stuff. I shouldn't even walk down it because I might be tempted. And you got your metals and screws and stuff. And then the section that most people think about when they think about these kind of box stores is the lumber section. Man, this is a big store. I think this might be the biggest Home Depot I've ever been in. You hear a lot of hubbub about the price of wood these days, and here you see the price is $3.73 for a regular 8-foot 2x4. And that is here in June 2024. Usually they only have 8-foot sections of drywall available. Here they have 10-foot. That's pretty unusual. That's nice. Huge store. Might as well just look at some of the power tools. I love all the black and yellow. It's great. It's like a sea of it. I knew it. They're testing out a smoker today. $389. Smells awesome. Welcome to the Store. This place is great. Every one that I've ever been in is really a great place. This is huge. I've never been here to this one. So much stuff. How's it going, man?
Doing good.
$10 for a pipe clamp? Good deal. So you see there's a lot of little things, and you have to be on a mission to find something or just browse around and pick up stuff you think you'll need, but that's how you collect clutter, as we all know, which I'm pretty good at doing sometimes. Sometimes though, you just find something that is interesting and you just got to have it. You know what I mean? Like this hook here. It's huge. It's $3. That's probably at least $10 in a regular store. I don't need it. I'm going to step away slowly. Giant lag bolts. I probably do actually need some of these for a project coming up in the building. I'm not sure what size though, so I'm going to have to bypass all this. It's too bad. Toilets. Usually have toilets here. Don't worry. They're all brand new. There's no used toilets here, but there are used sinks there in the background. There's some good deals today. And also doors. Not in the market for a door at the moment, but plenty of doors and windows. Furniture. Lots of desks, ceiling fans. I'm sure they test these before they put them out here. And lights. Just so much stuff. And they have a media section that is quite large. I see some records down there. I'm sure there's DVDs. Yep, right around the corner there's DVDs and CDs. Oh, and a whole bunch of recordable CDs. Who's going to buy all those? What would you do? Does anyone even have a DVD? Oh, DVD recorder? Anyone have those anymore? Oh, Mama Cass. Lawrence Welk. I loved Lawrence Welk. I still do. I like Lawrence Welk's show. My grandparents got me turned on to it as a young man. Huh. Usually when I come to one of these stores, I'll pick up a CD or two for the Honda because I got a CD player in there and not in the Fantasy. So I'm just looking through here. I found a couple that I'm interested in. I also have a couple I've donated here, so I just rotate them in and out. When I get tired of one, I go on to the next. Oh, here's one. Sounds of Portland. Oh, I've been to Portland. I've heard things there, but I wonder if this is accurate to what I experienced. We'll have to find out. James Taylor. Oh, sweet baby. Okay, getting that one. They're only $1. Isn't it weird when you see things that you owned in the past in a store? We had this same radio for under the counter in our kitchen, and a couple times, weirdly, it turned on without being plugged in. I don't think that there is any battery thing on here. That was a strange moment in life, but that's the radio. I remember listening to that. It's pretty good radio. Not for $25 though. That's more than 25 years old. Whenever I come to a place like this, I'm always looking for mini disc players and recorders. I have never found one at a thrift store or a restore, but they got to be out there somewhere. One of these days, I might get lucky.
Finally, the last section of the store is the kitchen area. You have a lot of utensils and cups and mugs and plates and stuff, even baskets over here. One other thing you can look for at the Restore is paint. Apparently, somebody ordered a little too much. Well, a lot too much. Way a lot too much. Now, there's all kinds of colors here and different sheens. We're limited on colors, but nicely labeled. I'm just scanning the last tables before I leave. They're about to close. I saw this ice scraper mitt, and this is my first winter here. I hope this isn't something that is needed in the wintertime around these parts. I sure like the wintertime in Florida. I know it's going to be a little colder, but I hope it's not that cold. Okay, I think this is it.
Yes, sir. So that'll be $2.
Cool. I love the Restore. I love being able to find really good CDs like this in a place where I'm looking for construction equipment too. When we're done there, we're about an hour from home. I got a couple more errands to run, but I'm gonna get ready to put this flashing on. Okay, let's see what Portland sounds like, shall we? It's a 6 CD changer, fancy. Well, as it turns, Portland sounds a lot like the Dawson's Creek soundtrack, or at least whatever I remember of it. I didn't watch it that much, but it sounded like really dramatic mid-90s coffee shop music. There was a French song in there too, it wasn't so bad. I'll probably listen to the album a couple more times. It's not a bad album, but I had a nice time poking around town with all you guys. I ran a couple more errands, made it back here, and just had a lot to be thankful for. In my drive, I was considering, the nature of this video and making mistakes and recovering from them, and the new adventure of just having this building and the things that we get to learn along the way together. And also being very appreciative for local friends that we've met here, people that will probably be lifelong friends already. I'm really loving Johnston. Sarah and I both agree that we love it here so much. It's been unexpectedly awesome. Now, it's getting a little late in the day, so I'm not going to repair the flashing this evening. I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning and just enjoy the rest of the day, what we have left of it. So just feeling thankful. It's been a good day. I installed this yesterday, late afternoon, and it was a heat index of 118 degrees. The tar had gotten on my fingers, which eventually ended up on the phone that I'm recording from and the tripod, and it fell over during recording. I got a little frustrated, so we just abandoned ship on that. I was a total mess, but it was all done. So let me show you the final product of this flashing. So friends, I am not a roofer. I'm sure that a roofer would do a much better flashing job and probably use a brake to do this so it would look perfect, but this is all I did to replace it. I took the old flashing, I cut it back about that high so I could put the new flashing in that same ridge that I cut, and I pulled back a little bit of this so you can see the top of the flashing goes over top of the roof, and this skirting here is just to protect the nail holes that I put 4 nail holes in the top of that flashing and covered them up with a lot of goop. And don't worry about that little bit I just pulled up because the caulking's not quite dry, and I'm going to add a little bit more right there anyway. So we're all done, finally done up here. It's much easier to pay attention and do the job right the first time than to come back and do it 2 times. No one likes doing that. If you can't make time to do it right the first time, well, how are you going to find time to do it a second time, as they say? Well, it is a challenge. But when you do find out that you made a mistake, well, you gotta fix it. So that's what we did. Well, something else some subscribers mentioned was the concern about the moist air coming out of one of the vents and then going right over into the other vent and getting back into the attic space. But I'm not really concerned about that in this situation. I do not believe that this would pass code on a new build. But in some situations, you just have to do something a little bit different to make it work. There's an old building we're dealing with, so there's going to be some things that come up that, and you just can't put it right there, or you got to move things around to accommodate what's already been built. And here, I just did not want to go through the roof. If we have to,
that's okay. The inspector man is going to see this, and if he says no, or she, then no problem. We'll put a vent through the roof. It's going to be accessible. I'm leaving this all open to be explored by the inspectors anyway. But thank you for the suggestion on that. I'm not going to change that part of it, but I am going to change another part of this vent. Let me show you that. Okay, friends, we're almost done. I wanted to show you one other upgrade that I did because of a subscriber who left a comment that this flex foil ductwork is not as good as the semi-rigid that I installed. I upgraded because it was suggested to me that this stuff goes bad after a while, and if I'm gonna seal up the ceiling, well, I'm gonna do it for longevity. I'm gonna put the best kind of product I can in there so I don't have to go back and fix it later. So you can see how this is really floppy, and that's pretty rigid. So that hopefully will last a little longer. Well, thanks for joining me today, friends, here at the previously abandoned Bank of Johnston. Appreciate your company. Glad to have told you about the finger and showed you that I do make mistakes, and I'm not too proud to take suggestions from subscribers. I really appreciate you guys leaving comments and educating me on things that I could do better or don't know about, things I've never thought about. So that's awesome. Keep them coming. I really appreciate that. Thanks for watching today, friends. I'll see you in the next video.